Hey everybody, it's Andy, AR Engineering. Have another short video here on the 632 crate motor. This is the General Motors 1000 horsepower crate motor. Got the valve cover off here. We're going to take a look at some of the stuff here in the top end. Anyway, as you can tell, we're not in Kansas anymore. These rocker arms look like a Jessel, maybe a T&D. There aren't any markings on the rocker arms anywhere, but as you can see, they're individual shafts, 1.8 rocker arm ratio, and General Motors used a beehive valve spring on these motors. You don't usually see this type of shaft rocker arm coupled with a beehive spring, but the 632 has a red line of around 7,000 RPM, is a hydraulic roller camshaft. So all you really need is the beehive springs. These rocker arms are way overkill for this motor, but that's what these heads require. This is a pro stock type of cylinder head, and these are the only rocker arms available for it. So General Motors used the rocker arms that come with the head, and the springs match the cam. And that's just the way the combination works out. The intake manifold is a tall spider type manifold, dominator flange. It's unique to this engine because this is a tall block with these pro stock type of heads. So there's nothing else in the world that works with this combination. This intake, very clean looking design. You can see obviously it's set up for fuel injection. It's got the injector bosses here and then another set of boss blanks sitting above that, which could be used for a second set of injectors or nitrous or whatever. And a big open plenum. And one thing about these heads and this intake manifold, see I'll shine a light down in here, but if we get the angle just right, you can see the valve guide and the valve down in there. So you can basically take the carburetor off and look down and see the top of the intake valve. And one unusual thing about this motor, if you haven't seen this before, is there's actually two manifolds here. The lower manifold is a wet manifold that has the coolant in it, and the upper manifold is dry. It's only for the air and the fuel. So you can pull the upper manifold off without getting into the coolant system. And there's enough room underneath the upper intake manifold for General Motor engineers to shove all the coils in there. So the 8 coils are all in the valley, kind of tucked out of the way, which is a much cleaner approach than having them hang on the valve covers. The upper manifold is just held on with these vertical bolts, and then the ports are O-ringed. So this upper manifold comes off really easily and goes back on. Don't have to scrape gaskets. Just pull it off, fix anything with the coil, replace coils, whatever you have to do, and then bolt it back on. So it's a very clean setup. The boss on the back of the intake manifold here is for the T-map sensor. So that's a combination of temperature and manifold pressure. At the front, the coolant sensor looks like an LS coolant sensor, but it's not. General Motors has switched to metric threads on this engine, so you have to be careful. It's most everything else they used a pipe thread, a 3/8 pipe thread. This motor they went metric. But that fitting is metric, the front fitting is pipe thread, so Just be careful when you're working on one of these engines. Don't make any assumptions about what is what. They've kind of mixed and matched different parts together. Anyway, that's a short overview of the top end, the rocker arms, and so forth for the General Motors 632 crate engine. Thank you.